Hey friends, happy Wellness Wednesday. So I was looking on Facebook today and saw so many posts of people showing what 4 years ago they were posting, and it just so brought that all back to me. It's hard to imagine that 4 years ago, um, about 4 days ago, the 16th, is when we got our stay at home order, when we thought we would only be home for a couple of weeks, and that extended into months, and then working from home, and et cetera, et cetera. And so I thought I'd do a little bit of a flashback of some things that I learned during the pandemic and during that time at home. So number one, I would say, is that I learned that I don't have to be dependent on all the instants in my life, all the fast food, just the running out to grab a coffee, all these things that I was spending money on, that now suddenly I didn't have, and I had to do at home, do with what I had at home and what I could find at the markets. And it really did teach me, and I was thinking about it and how much I tend to just take the easy way out and eat out because it's just easier than going home and cooking and then cleaning dishes. Yet we did it for so long during the pandemic where we couldn't go to restaurants. And it wasn't for quite a while, for a couple of months, that I actually allowed myself to give in to doing DoorDash or Uber Eats or something like that to bring in fast food. So I did learn, and I have to remember that I can do without that. I can cook, I can make my own meals. It just takes a little bit more effort, but it is doable. I think the second thing that I learned was, as much as I love being a homebody, and for a while before the pandemic, I would say, oh, I just want like a week at home. Oh, I just want, to stay at home or work from home or whatever. And then when I had the chance to do it, I enjoyed it for a while. But then I realized how much I missed people. As much of an introvert that I am, I missed being around people. I missed hugging people, shaking hands with people, seeing them face to face instead of on a screen. That was really a difficult time for me and for probably anyone who lives on their own, to be, the only voice, the only real voice that you hear all day is your own. And that was really difficult. It made me go sit on my patio a lot more because I wanted to see people, at least see people walking by and maybe hear their voices. I didn't see children for a long time because at the time there weren't, and there still aren't, a lot of children that live in my apartment building. So I didn't see children. I just didn't see people, and I missed that. And so it reminds me that as introvert as I am, I need people. A week at home alone might be enough, but I couldn't do more than that anymore. I miss community. I just miss people. And so that was definitely something that I learned about myself. I thought I'd be happy at home with my books and my cat for as long as I needed to be, but in reality, after a couple of weeks, I started to get a little antsy. So, and I think the third thing that I learned was that I do have friends out there who cared. We did a few girls' nights on Zoom. I had conversations with people more than I ever had on the phone, and via Zoom. So that was really nice. Usually I go home and kind of shut down and not, interact with people. But at that point, I was interacting with people because, as I said in number two, I was lonely. So I think seeing the way that my friends, would still rally around and want to do things, and especially if you're on my Facebook and my personal Facebook, at the time when I lamented online somewhere that I could not find toilet paper, which was a reality for a while. My good friend Dr. Mel Kennedy sent me a gift box, with toilet paper and snacks and other various things to help me through. And I think just knowing there were people out there who kind of said, I get what you're going through, and let me help you as much as I can. And so that was really nice, thing to learn. And a really nice thing to experience is to being with, being knowing that there were people out there that had my back, even though I didn't see them all the time, even though I hadn't seen them in person in, however many 2 years, some people, it was really great to have that. So I look back and I realize that it was a hard time, and I think we all have to recognize the trauma, that it was traumatic to go from having these busy lives outside to just suddenly everything stopped. And even though it's 4 years ago, I like to look back and again see what I've learned, see how I've grown, see what are the things that maybe I need to remember, and like remembering the things that I take for granted, like being around people all the time, like hugs, I like being able to go out and get food whenever I want to, instead of having to rely on just, safety measures and all of that. So I think we've come a long way. And maybe that's something to reflect on this week in terms of our own self care, when we're feeling down, when we're feeling alone, when we're feeling lost, when we're feeling like it's bleak. To remember that 4 years ago, it was really bleak and it was really scary. We lost a lot of people. A lot of us lost family members during that whole time. And to not have that ability to grieve in the same way that we normally might really took a toll on us. And I think it's time that we acknowledge that so that we can grow and move from it. So I'm not trying to look back to lament. I try to look back to see how have I grown since then and how can I continue to grow? What can I continue to learn? Because we all have something to learn, especially about our own selves. So just a little something to think about this week as we head into Holy Week and then the resurrection and the risen time of Easter. Um, Maybe take some reflection on what how have I grown in these past couple of years, since that experience of pandemic, since the experience of being on lockdown, and for those of you who may have suffered from COVID, how that recovery has been and what that has changed in your life, so that when we get to Easter, we are in that place of growth and that place of fulfillment, within ourselves. So just a little quick reflection. Hope that helps you enjoy this last week of Lent as we move into Holy Week. And as always, take good care of yourself.